Hello everyone, I'm Batpan, about to ride the horse. In today's video, we're gonna see how to create that zooming effect like Freeze to Fathom in Unity. It's actually a new additional thing to the camera movement system that we created in the previous videos. This video will be put inside a series of videos covering Unity tips and tricks, and also in another series of videos covering functions from the game Freeze to Fathom in Unity. I recently published an Android port of my game called Fractured Psyche. It's a psychological horror game. It's now on both Windows and Android. If you're into this stuff, you can actually check it out with a link in the description. All the files used and created in this video are available on my GitHub, also linked below. With all that being said, let's put on the mask and begin. We have the FPS controller from the Unity standard assets that I've told you guys about it a lot in my previous videos. If you want to download it, you can get to it with a link in the description. What we need is just a camera or an FPS controller. Then we're gonna have to create a script. So I'm just gonna create a new folder. I'm gonna call it scripts. Inside it, I'm gonna create a new C# script. I'm gonna call it Freeze to Fathom camera zoom. Yes, double click to open it up. So the things we need for this script: first, we need a reference to our camera. You can get the camera.main to get the main camera, or you can just reference the camera here. I'm just gonna reference the camera here. So we're gonna say public camera. I'm gonna call it cam. Then we need a public float. I'm gonna call it normal field of view, which is like 60 in my case. I'm gonna explain this to you guys, then I'm gonna show you the reference, that each one has a reference to something, and I'm gonna show you that something. So public float zoom field of view, which is like 40 in my case. You can change it outside the script. Then we need a public float for the zoom speed, which is like 5 in my case, and it is the speed that we change from going to zooming or coming out of the zoom. That is it. Then I'm gonna create a boolean. I'm gonna make it private, so private boolean. I'm gonna call it zooming, which is equal to false, because by default we are not zooming, and when we press, for example, right mouse key, we start zooming like Freeze to Fathom. So that is the reference we made. Let's go ahead and see what are these references. So you see inside our camera we have a field of view option that when you increase it, it goes back, and when you decrease it, it goes inside. Normally it is on 60, and I'm gonna leave it at 60, so my normal field of view is like 60. When I press, for example, the right mouse key, hold it, it goes from 60 to 40, like smoothly. It comes like, makes it like this, and when I, release the right mouse key, it goes like right around like 60. And we need a reference to two values, that is the normal field of view and the zoom field of view, and we need a speed to go from 60 to 40. You can change all of these values outside the script, so no worries. We don't need void start here, so we're gonna remove it. Inside void update, what we're gonna check is if we press the right mouse key, if we are holding it down or we're releasing it. So first we're gonna check if we are holding it. So we say if input dot get mouse button down, mouse button 1. So it is gonna check if we pressed right mouse, or in this case we are holding it down. So if we are pressing or holding it down, we're gonna make our boolean zooming equal to true. So when we are pressing down the right mouse key, it starts zooming, it makes our boolean true. Then we say if we stop pushing the button down, we make it false. So input mouse button up, the right mouse button up, we just say zooming is false. It is easy. If we are pressing the right mouse key, we start zooming, and when we release the right mouse key, we stop zooming and we go back to our normal field of view. And it is actually very easy. Right now it just changes our boolean. Inside our update, we're gonna make the changes happen. So if we are, if our zooming boolean is true, we actually start zooming, and when it is false, we go out of zooming and we stop, zooming. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna say if zooming, it is actually like saying if zooming is equal to true, but this is a smaller version of saying it. So if you're zooming, we're gonna go ahead and start zooming, or else if you're not zooming, we stop zooming. So let's go ahead and create the function for zooming. We're gonna say cam, the camera reference we made up here, dot field of view. So we're gonna change the field of view. We're gonna change it using a thing called math.lerp, which is gonna take a start point and an end point and a time, and it's gonna go from point 1 to point 2 in a time, in the time that we give it. So as you see, it needs a float for A, float B, and float T. So we're gonna start from our cam dot field of view, which is our field of view we have at the moment. Then we're gonna go to our zoom field of view. We need our zoom speed, and we're gonna times it by time dot delta time, so it doesn't change when our FPS drop. So it is a constant and it is dependent on the time. So what it does is, if our zooming boolean is true, it goes ahead and takes the field of view, the current field of view, and changes it into our zoom field of view in the speed we gave it, in the time we gave it. And for the not zooming, it is exactly kind of like the same thing. We can just copy it, Control C and Control V, paste it here. Instead of zoom field of view, we're gonna say normal field of view. You see, if we want to zoom, we zoom into our zoom field of view, and if we don't want to zoom, we just go out of it into our normal field of view. And that is it. That is exactly what we need, and we can go ahead and check it out. So we're gonna select our first person controller, and we're gonna give our script to our camera, and we're gonna reference our camera, and that is it. You see these values, and I'm gonna go ahead. Let's go ahead and check it out. I hold the right mouse key, it zooms in. You see, you can zoom in, you can zoom out. You can change the values. I want to zoom in onto like 50, so less zoom, or like 20, a lot more zoom. It is exactly in your hands. You can zoom in and out, and you can give it more time, more speed, so it is faster, or less speed, so it is slower. But I think 5 is a cool speed. That is actually more beautiful. So that was how to create that zooming effect like Fierce the Fathom in Unity. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, a like would be very amazing. You can subscribe to see more contents like this. You can tell me any comments, any opinions, any scenarios, anything you want to say in the comment section below. I would be very happy to answer it. Hope all the best for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.